Hi, folks. I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my political cartoon countdown and Ukraine update for April 1st, 2022. I think the only people who are not being fooled on this April 1st, April Fool's Day, are the Ukrainians. And first and foremost, I'd like to give you the update of what's been going on there. So to start with, we have here the center action being the capital city. Okay, right here, Kiev. This is the focal point of what the Russians' objective is: to take the city, decapitate the government, and take over the whole country. And everything they do is putting the pieces in place for that to happen. And so here is the basic outline of what's going on now. So you have here, the Russians tried to take Kyiv, and they failed. And the Ukrainians heroically pushed them back, and they did that going through Irpin here, this suburban city or town of Irpin. And there, a bloody battle was fought, like the Battle of New Orleans, you know. That's what this on the fired our guns, and the Russians kept it coming. You know, that's what it was. But they beat them back. You see? So I put here this Ukrainian flag there to show that they took Irpin back, but Irpin is completely demolished, and they're still firing shells into that city. Okay, so that's the latest thing about what's happening here. They're holding Kyiv, and Kyiv itself is still being shelled. So what you have here are the Russians retreating in man force and escalating in bombardment of their long-range artillery. So they're shooting at Irpin, they're shooting at Kiev, but they're not messing with the Ukrainian soldiers at this point. Now they say, okay, well, we want to make peace. The Russians do say that. Let's sit down and talk for a while, and we'll move our troops out of there. But anybody knows, you know, they, like I said, just because it's April Fool's Day don't mean the Ukrainians are going to be fooled. So they know what the story is here. And so, as an audience, witnessing Russia's unprovoked and unjustified barbaric attack on Ukraine that in many respects dwarfs the spectacles of World War II, if you find yourself in a conflict of having the need to keep aware of the horrific and heroic events unfolding in Ukraine, and at the same time feel the need to escape depression from the graphic images modern technology now brings us, be assured the solution to this human conundrum is here. Since this invasion began, and even during the past 5 years of controversial issues, that this author has been creating a series of humorous, informative, and enlightening political cartoon books that address current issues with a spoonful of sugar. Over the years, I've had the pleasure of authoring 6 of these books and currently working on the 7th. This is 3 from the series of my books. This is from 2020. It's the book here. And this is just one cartoon. I'll show you just to randomly pick out a sample. Okay, that was 2020. And in 2021, there was a part 1 and part 2 things. So many things were happening. I drew the Capitol with everybody there. Okay. And here's a sample. I just picked this one out. There's Josh Hawley in front of the Capitol that day on January 6th. Okay. So this was part 1 of 2021. And this book here is my current book, my latest book here, part 2 for 2021. You see, put Trump running with the 24 for the year that he may run again with the football, and then you have the select committee trying to block it. And there's Trump's teammates trying to block the select committee. He's running with the ball there. That was the cover of this latest book. And here we have Trump watching, this example, watching Liz Cheney here. Okay, so those were my 3 latest books. This is the one most current. To purchase a book, or the whole collection, or just view sample cartoons, I invite you to check the description for the link to my website, or search directly on Richard's Books of Political Cartoons.com. That's no punctuation. Thank you. They're bracing for what's going to come. Now, you got here, this is Belarus, where they're going to regroup in here. Perhaps they're saying they're regrouping, and they're going to, from there, the Russians have said, another thing is that nuclear power plant in Chernobyl, the Russians want no part of that no more. Enough radioactivity there, and their soldiers are getting sick and everything, so they're moving out of that place, So they're letting the Ukrainians get in there, So that's what's happening here. Now, that's Chernobyl, okay? Now, the idea here was to move to the east. See, and then they have their forces coming up this way. So the idea was to move these forces over here and form a land bridge, kind of like a land bridge, so they don't have to go over. They don't have to go over the water to get there. I always used to call this the Putin Tri-Bar Bridge. He built a bridge over here from Russia into here. So to bypass that bridge and make more direct route, they want to build a land bridge on by land, and from the Crimea, Crimea through here where they've already have gotten this area here, and Mariupol is really taking the hardest of all the cities, and they really wanted that city. It's a seaport, and that's like their hub. The hub. It's like the Grand Central Station to them, of the 42nd Street, of what's going to bridge all this area here. So they really, and Mariupol was an area, those group of people, they fought back in 2014. So the Russians really had it out, and they bombed the hell out of that city. And now they say they're taking busloads of people out of the city. They say that they're trying to get about 40 buses or so to get the people they can get out of Mariupol. And this is the real kicker here. They're sending in from one of the cities, Donetsk. They're sending envoys over there to create a new government in Mariupol, and they're still fighting. Ukrainians are still fighting for the city. They haven't taken Mariupol yet. They haven't. They bombed. It's gone. It's off the face of the earth. But they still haven't taken the city because they're still fighting there. But the Russians are gung-ho to get that city. So the administration in Donetsk is forming a new government to take over the governing of Mariupol. What they're going to govern is wasteland, nothing. There's nobody to govern because everybody's either left or dead or injured. And plus the fact is, that they're going to be snipers around, people who are going to be shooting at them. So I won't want that job of being the new Russian leader of Mariupol. That's a job, that Putin might give somebody who one of his generals was screwed up. He might send them over to Mariupol to run that city. That'd be a good job, for one of the generals who just happened to make a few bad decisions, or else he found out he wasn't telling him the truth or something like that, or who just got fed up with him. So anyway, that'd be a good job for him, the new mayor of Mariupol, the Russian leader of Mariupol. Why could kill the guy? You could send him over there. Let the Ukrainians take care of him. So anyway, I'm now joking, but I'm just thinking here that with all jokes aside and everything, that I say this, that the cards, the die is cast if those Ukrainians don't get the stuff they need. Because with all they're saying the British intelligence tell us that the Russians are like, they're shooting down their own planes, morale is low. A guy goes, oh, there's a plane up there. Oh, it was our plane. Holy, but that don't mean anything, because the Russians they're getting new conscripts in. They're going to get some mercenary soldiers from mercenaries from Syria. They're going to get it from all over the place. They're going to get it, and they're going to regroup here in the east. They're regrouping here in the east, and they secure this area. They're going to come here, and then they're regrouping up in here in Belarus, and then they're going to come in, and then they're going to overwhelm Irpin and go right into Ukraine, decapitate the government, and it's goodbye Ukraine, and hello to the doorsteps of Russian domination here, and all these Baltic states here. Your Baltic states here are going to be in jeopardy here. You're talking about Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and who knows what else. Romania here down below, Bulgaria, Moldova is a country now. So what I'm saying here is these people can't use American weapons. They got to have the old Soviet stuff that they did when they were part of the Soviet Union, and all these countries have those kind of weapons. The old MiGs, the old Russian MiG planes and everything. So I know anybody who can take a shave in the morning, who can give these people the stuff they need to fight, and turning them down because they're of whatever, and then you can shave in the morning because it's going to be on the doorstep. It's going to be on the doorstep. I hate to say it, but World War III is going to be on their doorstep because you heard Lavrov say that they didn't ever attack Russia, and they don't want any more countries. That's Lavrov's two statements. They never attacked Ukraine, and they don't want any more. Russians don't want any more countries. All we want is Ukraine. So you heard that straight from Lavrov. So you go from there, folks. So what I'm telling you here is that President Biden says, well, he's running a balancing act between starting World War III and having the Ukraine win. I mean, the balancing act is going to start after Ukraine falls, and then the Russians go into God forbid, and then we have other problems, and then people start firing missiles into all these countries, and who fired the missile? Because Ukraine is a whole bunch of people. You got to know, because those Ukrainians are going to give up. It's going to be like a failed government. It's going to be a nowhere land. It's going to be, so you're going to have all kinds something that could be something like a Syria or a Libya even, So you're going to have people firing missiles into those countries next to it. And you say, well, we didn't do it. The Russians didn't do it. Who did it? And then you got NATO coming in, and boom, you got a World War III. So what I'm saying to you folks, if we lose Ukraine, we're on the doorstep of World War III anyway. So you might as well stop it at the get-go and do everything you can to help this guy Zelensky and give him what he needs, because he ain't making this stuff up, We give him what he needs. He needs MiGs, you give him the MiGs, because otherwise it's a down payment you're putting a down payment on World War III. That's what you're doing. If the Ukrainians lose, it's a down payment on World War III. All right, I said it, and you heard it first from me. So there you have it. So this is the story here. Now, what I'm saying here is the Russians now, they also want Odessa, because if they can take Odessa, then they can then what happens to Ukraine? It's a landlocked country. They got no way of getting in or out. Any supplies can come in. So they're looking to take Odessa. What they did is they shot a hole through an administration building here in Myoclave the other day. Boom! It went right through the building. And all the people who happened to be there, and where they aimed? They aimed for the leader, the highest official they could get. But they ended up killing a whole bunch of a lot of innocent bystanders got blown away here in Myoclave. Boom! A guided missile. So you got your Russians. You got two flavors of Russians. You got your dumb bombs, and you got your guided missiles. The guided missiles could hit a thumbtack from a million miles away, and your dumb bombs just whatever. Who kills, we kill. We just got to terrorize these people. So I'm just telling you, it comes in two flavors. So I'm telling you that neither flavor is good, and either one. And while the Ukrainians are putting up a tremendous fight here, if they don't get the stuff they need, it's inevitable that the Russians will win, and that's, I say again, is a down payment on World War III. Look out what's going to happen. I said it already. So here you got, but they're going to try to take Odessa here, and now they're going out. They've been shooting some stuff out west here. The other day, you saw that they up here in Lviv, they hit a fuel supply depot up here with a hypersonic missile. So they'll throw in a hypersonic too once in a while, from a plane way out there, and they could target the supply depot where all the fuel comes, and all the stuff that goes across the country gets their fuel, so they blow up the fuel. They have overwhelming technology the Russians have on these people, So I'm saying that it's you got to give them what they need, If they need if Zelensky says he needs flying acrobats from a circus, I'm just saying, then you bring him the flying acrobats from the Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus. If he needs acrobats, whatever he needs, you give him, because he's there and he knows. You don't go, well, it's like the risk reward ratio, and then look at these guys looking in the Pentagon. The risk reward ratio is X.2.67, and this and that. This guy Zelensky, his life is on the line. He's in the bunker. He's up there making, So that's who you take your marching orders from, as far as giving what you give to Ukraine. You take it from Zelensky. You don't take it from some guy who's in the Pentagon downstairs, safe and sound, making all these statistical analysis and all that bullshit. So anyway, that's the story here. This is it. So you got here, and now what else is new here? Let's see. Well, that's what I basically given you the story, is that the Russian says we're not going we're taking less action here in this area, and meanwhile they put in more bombs, but they're sending their men further away to regroup and eventually come back and take it. That's the whole objective, is to take this city here and decapitate the government, and boom, done deal, and that's it. All this talk about dividing Ukraine in half, and we'll take like a North and South Korea and all that's all baloney, because that's just a stalling tactic to give people a chance to talk more, so they have a chance to regroup. So that's the story here, folks. I tell you, I hope to God that Biden is able to, because it all comes down to Biden convincing these people here to do the right thing in the NATO countries, because our planes and our stuff don't mean nothing to these people, because they don't know how to work our weapons. They only know the old Soviet stuff that they got from years ago when they were part of the Soviet Union. So there you have it, folks. All right, I'm looking forward to the cartoon countdown. So here we go now with the cartoon countdown. Here we got here, number 4 of the week. Okay, here is Kim Jong-un watching former VP Mike Pence blaming the Biden administration for North Korea's latest first suspected intercontinental ballistic missile that the North Koreans just launched a missile up into space, and boom, it came down in the Sea of Japan and all the way up. So they're saying that the distance it traveled, it could have hit the United States because it went up like this way up there in outer space, and boom, down it came. So with that kind of propulsion, it could have been just as well going lower, and it could have gone over to the United States or anywhere else. It's an intercontinental ballistic missile, meaning it travels the continents. Okay, so here you got here Pence going on Fox News, and he's blaming Biden administration for their test, saying that then President Trump was more stronger and firmer with leader Kim Jong-un, and that's why they didn't do it in those days when he was president. So here we have Pence here, and here he is giving his thing here on Fox News. Here he is. And he's saying, this stopped under the Trump administration because we stood up to Kim Jong-un. We did a pressure campaign on him. Peace comes through strength and weakness and arouses evil. Peace comes through strength and weakness arouses evil. You got peace comes through strength and weakness arouses evil. So then I have here Kim Jong-un here. He's watching this in North Korea, in Pyongyang. He's watching this here, you see? And he's thinking to himself, he's thinking here, back to when he sent President Trump the big envelope, and he was so proud of it, and he took a photo with the North Korean official there, in the Oval Office with a big envelope. So there's President Trump with a big envelope with the North Korean official, celebrating, being very happy with the big envelope he got, with the love letter, and he says, and leader Kim Jong-un, North Korea, says here, Mr. Vice President, me still remember President Trump's strong arousal from huge envelope with love letter from dear leader Kim. There you have it. Okay. There it is. Okay. All right, numero tres de la semana here. Number 3 of the week. Here we have U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken's style compared to Russian President Vladimir Putin, given Blinken trying to walk back President Joe Biden, ending his speech Saturday at the NATO summit in Warsaw, Poland, by saying of Putin, quote, for God's sake, this man cannot remain in power. President Biden said that there in the context of his being very upset of what he had experienced from the people who had been terribly bombed, the deaths and children, and he said he was reacting to that. Plus, there was an attack in Lviv, only about 250 miles away from where he was standing and talking at the time. So all that kind of generated his emotional reaction, he says. And Putin, just days before, went on a rant blasting against Russian President Putin. Blast a couple of days earlier than this, he went on a rant about cancel culture in the United States. Cancel culture, saying the West is canceling Russia by going after an entire 1,000-year-old country or people, and comparing Russia's plight to Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling. So President Putin, I heard him say it, he did compare the plight of Russia to author J.K. Rowling, who is taking a lot of heat now because of the gender, her ideas about gender and things like that. So here I have here the comparison here. Here is Blinken. Blinken is saying here, the president was trying to say Putin cannot be empowered to wage war in Ukraine or anywhere else. So Blinken is trying to turn the words around, saying he's not out of power, but he shouldn't be put in power to do this. So it's really a little bit of a flip-flop and a little bit of a wishy-washy explanation. Biden came out and he said, look, I said it, I meant it, and in the heat of being upset, I said it. I don't want to overthrow of another government. We have no right to do that. And he was very clear about that. We have no plans, no objectives. It's just out of a moment, in a moment of passion. So it is not a human being on the world who in the whole world who's never said something that they might have not should have said, but said it in a moment of passion. Never. I don't think there's a human being who exists on the planet who's ever not done something like that. So anyway, so the president was trying to say Putin cannot be empowered to wage war in Ukraine or anywhere. So he's trying to to twist the words here. Biden came out and said the facts. Okay, so I have here Putin now saying Miss Rowling this is Putin's actual theme of what he said. Miss Rowling was canceled just because she didn't satisfy the demands of gender rights. They are now trying to cancel our country. Cancel culture is the same as Nazis trying to burn books in the 1930s. So we have Putin going back to his Nazi theme about getting rid of Nazis in Ukraine, and there he goes with that stuff again now here, Okay, so I'm not a diplomat. I'm a cartoonist, so I'm not going to try to explain to you the symbolism in showing this, and this. I'm not a diplomat. It would take a diplomat to explain the rationale for this cartoon. And so I'll leave it to you folks, to your imagination, to understand the cartoon. I just gave you the synopsis of the cartoon. Yeah, I am no diplomat. Okay, there. Okay, and here we have President Trump, and there we have Chris Wallace. Okay, Chris is the son of the late Mike Wallace, who used to do 60 Minutes. His father, Mike Wallace. This is his son. He was on Fox News Sunday for a while, and now he's on CNN Plus. He moved away from Fox News, and again, he's doing his shows on CNN Plus, streaming. So I did a cartoon about Trump dream. This is former President Trump having a dream, following the former president deriding former Fox News host called lightweight Chris Wallace. He did this on Fox News. He called Chris Wallace a lightweight for not permitting him to ask a question, as long as Putin, who launched an invasion of Ukraine last month, is not exactly a fan of our country. Putin is not a fan of America right now because they're fighting, they're supplying the Ukrainians and giving them strategies. And so he's not a fan of America right now, Putin. So President Trump feels this is a good time for him to, I would think he would be willing to probably answer, why did the mayor of Moscow's wife give the Biden family $3.5 million? So he wants to bring that up to Putin right now for him to answer this question. Given neither the Senate report nor Trump have provided any evidence that the payment was corrupt or that Hunter Biden committed any wrongdoing. So there's been no evidence brought forth against by all the investigations from the Senate and the Intelligence Committee, and they have found no reason to suspect that Hunter Biden did anything wrong or took any money that was not justified for him to have. So here is what I've done here in the dream. Okay, so here is a dream of President Trump getting the opportunity now, a second chance on Fox News Sunday, to ask Chris Wallace that question. Why did Hunter Biden get the $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Okay, so here he comes. $64,000. So here goes Chris. This is the dream here. President Trump is dreaming this here, and here goes Chris Wallace. There's Chris. Okay, and he's saying, "Welcome back to Fox News Sunday, sir. You're on. Ask your question." And here comes President Trump to answer the question, to ask the question, and he's asking it. Why did the mayor of Moscow's wife give the Biden family $3.5 million? Okay? And here he goes, Chris Wallace's retort here, and he's saying three. But, sir, Hunter Biden was not an owner or had any interest in the firm Senate Republicans allege, these are Senate Republicans now, allege received the $3.5 million payment in 2014. So the claim is false, because they did give him the mayor's wife did give the $3.5 million, but it wasn't to a firm that Hunter Biden was associated then. But now here's the clincher: it was a firm that's had a very similar name, except the firm must have dissolved or else became another firm with another person and added on. Another name was added on, and so it was a completely different company, which Hunter Biden had nothing to do with, that got the $3.5 million. But the fact of the matter is, it sounds so similar that it's almost interchangeable, because there's just one more name added on, and it's a different company. So there you go. So anyway, that's from everything that I've researched and everything, the most reliable sources I could come up with. Those are the facts. Okay, and then President Trump here, former President Trump, says, "Don't give me any of that fake news," because it's fake. He calls it fake news. And then you got here you got Chris retorting again here. He's retorting back, but sir, it's not fake news. Suppose Joe Trump and Ira Lipschitz formed the Trump-Lipschitz organization. You could not be held responsible for funds they received, because it would be a different company with Trump's name, the same thing that happened here, and you couldn't hold President or former President Trump responsible for that. So it's the same, and that's an analogy there. So then here goes President Trump. Now he retorts back, and he says, another Democrat talking point. Good luck at CNN plus more Democrat fake news. CNN plus more means plus more Democrat fake news to President Trump, former President Trump. And there you have this cartoon. Former President Trump. Chris Wallace here. The Dream. Okay. There. Okay. All right, numero uno de la semana. Number one, this was did very well. I'm very proud of this cartoon. Here we have Biden flying a Raptor F-22 plane. You can see him here up in the air. There he is. I drew him. This is during when he was in Warsaw, Poland. Okay, in response to that, what happened there. And then the missiles coming in at Lviv. Okay, attacking. These were guided missiles sent in from ships, specifically guided missiles, so they were able to go right up to the border without going over the border, because they were targeted and precision bombing through guided missiles from ships. Okay, and so they hit right here in Lviv the fuel supply depots that they attacked and blew up. Okay, because they're trying to block all the weapons from the west that are coming across. You see, they don't have the manpower to get out there and send men into Lviv. They don't have that manpower anymore. They're too bogged down in the eastern part of the country, so they're sending in missiles to block the supplies of coming through by destroying the fuel depots and things like that. And they sent another one out here, another attack here, around here somewhere, that they did attack also. So here I drew the Polish flag here. Poland, lower the flag. Poland. And here's how the cartoon goes. Biden warning Putin to not even think about moving on 1 single inch of NATO territory, symbolized by the U.S. president flying an F-22 Raptor jet fighter over some of the NATO member countries that close to non-member Ukraine. So these are the countries that are close to Ukraine. So here's Ukraine, and these are the countries here. Like I said before, when I originally was doing the update. These are the countries here, the Baltics, you know, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. These are the Baltic countries here that would, you see, these after World War II, the Soviet Union annexed these countries, and it was only after the fall, after the Soviet Union dissolved, that they became free now. And it's Putin, President Putin, has his own manifest destiny. Like, it's like, well, you know, I'm not going to say on Putin's side, no way, because every country has a right to, but this is what President Putin is thinking. President Putin does not see himself as an evil man. He sees himself as a Russian nationalist. It's his manifest destiny that Russia should be the Soviet Union and all these countries should be under their umbrella. That's his position. He don't, when he shaves in the morning, you know, he gets up, he shaves like all we all do. He don't say, oh, I'm shaming myself. He sees himself as a great Russian patriot, like something like Peter the Great, maybe even, you know, or Stalin. Stalin means steel. Stalin was man of steel. The way he stood up to those Nazis and everything like that. So he got General Zhukov to fight the way he fought those Nazis in those winter days in Russia when they came over, and they originally signed a pact, and Hitler turned right on the back of Stalin, and boom, you know, it was in the summer, and boom, there was Hitler's forces, and Stalin got out of bed, and he said, oh, he mobilized Zhukov, and he put the right people in charge. So he sees himself, Putin sees himself as a Russian hero. He don't see himself as an evil man doing these things, and we're calling this and that. It don't mean anything. The only thing that means is what happens on the battlefield. That's what counts. What happens on the battlefield, and that's why I urge President Biden to get these because they can't use our weapons. They need the weapons from the NATO countries, these countries that will form a Soviet Union, that have the MiGs and have all this stuff, and the high altitude, defense, air defense stuff, high altitude that they can shoot way up there, that go up to shoot down these guided missiles that fly way up there. They don't have that now. You know, they have these Stingers and all this stuff like that, but they need all they can get, and that's all I'm saying here. You know, because you're not going to, all this talk is just it's just people trying to console themselves, but President Putin sees himself as a modern day Peter the Great, and nothing's going to change that except victory. And we ain't going to get victory if we don't give Zelensky everything he needs. And that's my message. And I want to thank you very much for watching me today, watching my presentation. I wish you all the best of luck. God bless you, and God bless America. See you next time, folks. Bye.